You are entering a dimension of sound.
More dancing.
You carefully come in through the threshold with wonder, yet skepticism. You see the faint shape of an outline of a robot arm petting a cat. You faintly hear the haunting sounds of a man playing a tambourine. The sound augments into two men playing with a soundboard. You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Stay a while and listen.
And now, where Nephilim news meets biblical views, you'll find broken memes and shattered dreams. Give it up for Basil and Guns.
Okay, you are listening to Canary Cry News Talk. This is take 2 on the intro, everybody. Welcome. Today is March 18th, 2020. And this week, we're checking in with a Corona Cry News Talk. That's right, a very special episode. We're going to be doing a little bit of an extended episode, so everybody that complains about the 29-minute runtime on the usual podcast, you're welcome. We are here for you, and I want to give a big shout out to everybody who is watching live. We got YouTubers, we got Twitch people, we got Facebook people, we got Periscope people. We are coming in on so many channels, and we're so happy to have you guys watching live. Okay, this is a little nerve-wracking for us. We've been talking about going live for literal years, and we finally done it. So this is and of course this is perfect timing because everybody's trapped in their house because full government lockdown has now been initiated, which means we literally have a captive audience, Gons.
Yep. And your name is Basil.
And my name's Basil.
Totally off rhythm, but it's okay. This is a reboot. Everybody live streaming got to see the flub we had, the technical flub we had at the beginning, but
that's okay.
Yeah, we're going live. YouTube, Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel, the Twitch channel, Periscope on Twitter, and Facebook community and the page. So
yes,
we're just like broadcasting all over because yes, you're right. Everyone is home, captive. Everybody is under martial law. Stage 1.
I love this. This is what we needed to start live streaming is an audience of prisoners.
Yep.
So there we go. And now I'll say it again. You know what, guys? We have made a habit, a career about talking about things on our podcast that nobody else is talking about. Maybe it's because, they're trying to hide the truth, or maybe they just have more important things to talk about. But today we are going to dive right into the fray, talking about coronavirus, COVID-19. We're going to be, just to give a little bit of rundown, there's going to be some flair of usual Canary Cry News Talk show. So everybody who is a big News Talk fan, don't worry. We still got jingles. We still got all the good stuff. We're going to be going a little bit longer. But we're also going to be talking about our personal experience with this quarantine and just the development of COVID-19 and the coronavirus because I don't know. We just haven't had a chance to talk about it. And I think that's, just for our own personal well-being, we need to be able to do that, Guns.
Yeah. And I've shared some thoughts on the YouTube channel and, there's so many different things going on. But do you want to start with the Flippy update? Do you want to
Let's do it.
With the
Flippy
robots?
update, baby.
Okay, here we go. Oh, wait. Here we go.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, because of our extended session here, we are going to have a couple Flippy updates. Ooh, one of my Flippy updates just got locked behind a paywall, so I'm going to move to the next one.
Which one was that?
The first one, Business Insider.
I got it.
You got it?
I think so.
But I want it. Okay. Well, let me do the second one here, and then we'll see what happens. Okay. Here's the thing. Flippy, for those who don't know, Flippy is the colloquial name for the adorable disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. That's right. We're all gonna, Skynet is moving in quick, and, let no crisis go I
Go to
forgot the
waste.
saying. Go to waste.
Yeah, go to waste.
And Flippy is on the level here. He is not going to let this crisis go to waste. So I'm going to go through some of the robotic answers to the coronavirus pandemic that we are dealing with here. First of all, I'm talking from zdnet.com. Disinfection robots bypass coronavirus blockade. There's a special delivery en route to hospitals in China. An army of disinfection robots. I don't like it when they use the word army and robots in the same sentence, Gons. An army of disinfection robots being brought in to help fight COVID-19, more popularly known as the coronavirus. The shipment was prompted after Sunday. Sune Healthcare Supply signed an agreement with Denmark-based UVD Robots. Travel restrictions have made getting medical equipment into China difficult for many companies, but UVD managed to ship the first of its robots last week and has plans to send a significant number of new robots to China in weeks ahead. Quote, with this agreement, more than 2,000 hospitals will now have the opportunity to ensure effective disinfection, protecting both their patients and staff, says Su Yan, CEO of Sune Healthcare Company, a medical equipment supplier to the Chinese market. UVD Robots is a portfolio company of Blue Ocean Robotics, a company that we've seen a few times before. Last year it won blah, blah, blah. They're great robots. Now, here's the actual robots we're talking about. UVD Robots is a portfolio company of Blue Ocean Robotics. Last year, it won the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Award in Robotics and Automation, also known as the Oscars of Robotics. So we got a celebrity robot here for its autonomous disinfecting technology. The technology uses concentrated UVC light emitted by the robots as they drive. The UV light has a germicidal effect that removes virtually all airborne viruses and bacteria on the surfaces of a room and has been found effective on viruses similar to coronavirus. The robots are available in over 40 countries. And as we reported earlier this month, the coronavirus outbreak is causing fulfillment snags in various kinds of medical equipment. So long story short here, Gons, the quote, army of robots, disinfection robots are making their way to help out hospitals in China. And this little guy, I don't know, we got to think of a fun name for this guy. He just rolls around and shoots everything with super strong UV light, just killing all germs and viruses and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I don't know.
This is the kind of thing, if you make it too powerful, it's going to think that humans are viruses, or if humans are the bacteria. And
it sounds like you'll get a tan if this thing walks into the room. This little guy comes rolling in and he rolls on out and you're a couple shades darker. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I hope everybody gets a disinfectant.
We'll call him Flashy. We'll call him Flashy because he's flashing the germs away. So there you go. That's how. Dang it! I'm still locked out of this other one. I got to open it in another browser. That's what I can do.
I can read it. I have it.
There are so many robots to talk about in that article.
All right, so this is a businessinsider.com. Do you want me to do it or not?
Yeah, you start while I figure. By the way, I don't know if I said it on this second go around here, but I am in my virtual reality office, which makes everything incredibly difficult to control. So I'm a little bit slower on things. Typing is virtually impossible, but I'll try my best here. All right, get us started off there, Guns.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that you get the motion sickness from the VR. It makes good video.
It's getting there.
And audio, maybe. The robots are fighting the coronavirus in China by disinfecting hospitals, taking temperatures, and preparing meals. And check out this robot with a little zapper beam gun on it. Looks like a tank going up the stairs, and some guy with a mask frantically recording it with his phone. In China, robots are being used to minimize the spread of COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. Ah, man, they just pound everybody's heads with that, huh? Mm-hmm. By taking on cleaning and food preparation jobs that are considered dangerous for humans. The worldwide death toll of the coronavirus that originated in Wuhan, China is now more than 3,300. 33.
Yeah, it's
And
got
the
to come
virus,
in there somewhere.
and has infected more than 97,000 people. On January 30th, the World Health Organization officially declared it a global health emergency. The virus has disrupted travel, blah, blah. We know all that. It's now on every continent except Antarctica. Oh, didn't know that.
Now we know where to go, baby. All those
all the
secret
Nephilim.
Nazi bases down.
Nazi bases,
Yeah.
aliens, and the
Nephilim
ice wall.
hideouts.
Take a look at some of the clever ways robots are used across China to stop the spread of coronavirus.
Okay, let me get into this.
Okay,
I got
all right.
it open.
You're-
All right, so I'm just going to run through. First of all, there's a patrol robot in Shenyang, China. It rolls around hospitals, checks temperatures, and disinfects people and spaces. So this little guy will come up to you, takes your temperature, I think with lasers, and then will just douse you in a cloud of Lysol to make you safe to be around other people. So that's nice. We got to get sprayed down. A lot of spraying robots. People love the spraying robots right now. The next one, Hangzhou, China. Yet another city using robots to disinfect large areas. That's the bazooka sprayer there. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. The thing, at least in all the pictures here, they have the robots, but then they have people controlling it with a remote control standing right next to it. Like, what is the point of having the robot if you're just going to stand right next to it?
Well, the humans were the first to get blasted disinfectant so they can touch them.
That's a good point.
They have to be washed down. They have to be holy enough to be in the presence.
Then if we scroll down a little bit, we got this hand sanitizer dispensing robot was photographed in Shanghai on March 4th. He's a little fun little guy. Yeah, going down there. It kind of reminds me, you passed him. Kind of reminds me of the little robots that you would see just whizzing around the Death Star once in a while.
So many robots. I don't
scroll
think I
up
can
a
find
little
the one.
bit. No,
Okay.
you were on it.
I was.
Yep, it's the little black and white one right there.
Here.
In the Death Star, there's like little tiny black little trash can robots going around, and you don't know why. They're kind of for cleaning or something. That's this guy. You bend down, get a little spritz of hand sanitizer. You're good, man.
Does it dispense automatically, or do you have to squeeze his head?
I think you have to give it some of your DNA and then sign a release form.
Take an oath.
Yes, take an oath, a blood oath, just a little mark on your forehead, no big deal.
But there's
and then you get your thing. So I'll call that guy Spritzy.
Okay.
There's Spritzy. So there you go. That's our Flippy update for our Corona Cry News Talk episode. Robots are here to save us, an army of disinfecting robots. So don't worry. You might be afraid, but the robots are here to save us.
Fantastic.
Before we get into another story, Gons, I think we should, this is the real deal. Actual lockdown has begun. It's more a suggestion, but it's a little bit more than a suggestion down where you live. What's your deal? What's been your, what are they doing to you?
So,
tell me. You can tell us here.
Well, they did find some people with allegedly coronavirus down in, I think, Irvine, which is pretty much the town I grew up in.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that going on, but let me try to find the actual document here, because Orange County basically published last night a thing that's the similar, nobody getting together. It was 10 people that Trump announced yesterday, and then now it's basically, nothing other than family is allowed unless you are in an exempt profession or whatever, exempt activities. Sure. That's kind of weird too, and I think everybody's just declaring that they are not exempt. What was the word that was used in the document? Let's see here. Sorry.
I don't know, but just read it right there. You got some interesting stuff.
I have. So one of the things that it said in the document was that violation of this order, and let me share it with the people here so the people can see it. Violation of this order is subject to fine, imprisonment, or both, according to this California Health.
Violation of what? Going out, walking around, gathering,
and being, I guess, in a public place with more than 10 people for sure, but not having any kind of real purpose.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
If you look out the window, is there any motion out there? I mean, where I am, yeah, we technically, aren't supposed to go out. Non-essential businesses are closed
Non-essential. Yeah,
down.
that's what it was.
But
not.
people are still rolling around. I mean, you can barely even notice. Funny story. You like my big eyeballs, Guns?
Yes. By the way, yeah, we haven't addressed your eyeballs in this.
These are just my eyeballs. I'm revealing myself to the world. No, I went to. I needed to get these eyeballs for this stream this morning, and I called Michael's, the craft store.
Right.
And my area is currently under you can only essential businesses are allowed to be open, and if not, go home. And I called Michael's, and the answer is Michael's. I'm like, oh hey, I'm just trying to see if you guys are open today. And the woman is like, yes, we are considered an essential business.
Right.
Come on into Michael's, the craft store. I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, according
you
to
are
the document,
essential.
According to this document, I think it might fall into the category just because it says essential activities include government, health, safety, welfare of the public, first responders, law enforcement, court personnel, grocery store, certified farmers. And then I think there was something about there's food cultivation, businesses that provide food, shelter, social services, and other necessities of life for economically disadvantaged. Newspapers, television, radio, media services. That's us, Basil. We got to. This is our time.
Are we essential?
I think we're essential.
Guns, are we essential?
we actually matter.
Yeah.
Here we go. Businesses providing mailing, shipping services. There was something else. I can't remember what it was, but basically it was. Here we go. Businesses that supply products needed for people to work from home. That's very general. Maybe the Michael's.
Well, here's my two theories. You want to hear my theories on Michael's staying open?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Number one, craft store. People need crafts. You're going to be locked inside for a month. You need something to do. You got to go get your googly eyes. You got to get your pipe cleaners. All these, especially with all these kids going into homeschool now, moms or dad got to go get some crafts to keep these kids busy.
Yeah.
And it's essential or else somebody might get hurt. So that's number one. Number two, and I think this one's much more viable. Michael's craft store, lots of different types of paper. I think it's alternative toilet paper store.
Yeah,
you got your construction paper, you got your glitter paper, you got your streamers. Look, if you're out of TP, get yourself a roll of streamers. It's fun. It's flirty. It's a party in the bathroom.
Have it come down from the ceiling every time, too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It's a party every time.
Just have streamers hanging down from the ceiling.
That might be a great potty training essential tool there for kids.
Gamify. Gamify your wiping.
Yep.
So that was my fun experience this morning. But when did you actually get the word that you had to stay in?
I guess yesterday. My wife texted me, and she works for a medical supply company, so it's kind of go time for her too.
Yeah, and she's essential.
She's essential. Yeah,
actually essential.
Yeah, and so that happened, but yeah, going out and about. Obviously, all the stores, people are flooding into Costco. There's big lines everywhere.
Yeah,
I did notice the uptick I think it was last Thursday. I can't even remember now because everything happened so quickly. I guess it was last Thursday, the day that Trump, I think it was Trump who announced it. I don't know. So much has happened. But yeah, people in the local stores, all the toilet paper was gone. All the food was still there though. But now over the weekend, it's just a completely, everything is bare. Aaron went to the store in the morning and people were hoarding everything and trying to, I guess there is that limit now, but that's part of it too. That's the big thing that's been really weird is the behavior of people, the fear that everyone's feeling. And I was just watching Mel and Aaron's video from Truth Stream Media yesterday talking about fear as the main thing here. And they related it to an old Twilight Zone episode. And it's the one where the people start to freak out because they basically use the television and the radio and all that to make people hysterical. And that's kind of what we're seeing.
Right.
And yeah.
But tell me about your soul, Gons. How has the experience been? Is it spooky? I mean, this is for real. I mean, this is the weird thing for me. Can I get us started here? The weird thing for me is for 2 months, starting, right when it started coming around, January, February, the news just kept growing about coronavirus. Oh, it's in China. Oh my gosh, it's in Japan. Oh my. I actually had some travel canceled because of coronavirus. And I was like, that's okay, whatever. It's not a big deal. We've had a lot of these. And as we've all heard, there's been a big outbreak of something or other most election years. So I'm like, of course, it's just like an election year control mechanism. Okay. It'll never get to us. And if it does get to us, it'll never affect anything. And then suddenly it was like overnight, the announcements started coming out. Businesses closing down, people being forced to work from home or not work at all. Churches getting canceled. My church, not canceled, but moved to like an online thing. And suddenly it started being a big deal, like overnight. It was crazy. And one of the big things is, I mean, we got to keep in mind that Gons, you're an I generation, I'm probably an average millennial. You're maybe on the upper side of average millennial as far as ages.
I'm the oldest of the millennials.
You're
hanging
the oldest?
by a thread. Yeah, I'm considered a millennial by the year.
Oldest millennial. Glad to have you on the show, old man.
Old millennial. Go ahead.
But we've never experienced a national thing like this. I mean, there was 9/11, but 9/11, with the exception of TSA and pretty much TSA. I mean, TSA was the biggest thing that we all kind of said okay to after 9/11. Okay, yeah, if I want to fly, I gotta get felt up by some weird dude with the back of his hands because he's respectful. But not a day-to-day change of life. Whereas this has just been like what you hear about in World War II, where the whole country changed and people started giving away their metal to the government and things like that. I guess there was the gas shortage in the 70s, I think was the closest one, I guess.
Yeah.
Is my opinion. I mean, that would be weird to not be able to buy gas. That's kind of what I feel like. I mean, for me, a millennial to go into a grocery store and have an empty shelf? What?
Yeah.
It really was kind of a mind-bending experience to actually have empty shelves.
Yeah. You know what I think has been the funniest thing, though? Well, maybe not funny, but just the mindset, maybe the state of mind of people. And this came from my own daughter, too, the older one. But one of the things they said was like, you know what nobody's considering? Amazon. Just order it online. And of course, everything got backed up online too. And I don't know why that would be a thought. It's like, if you kind of knew what was going on, it's like, no, if everything stops, everything kind of stops. I guess it's not completely stopped with Amazon and stuff, but
no, Amazon's going, man.
I know, but I'm saying that if there is that full lockdown to the point where everything stops, then yeah, even Amazon is going to stop. But I thought it was convenient that there's like, that all the talk about drone delivery and all these things are like, there's a really good use case for a lot of that stuff that we thought was just, hey, totalitarian lockdown, whatever. And now it's like, yeah, give us the drones so we can have our delivery if everything is
give us
down.
The drones. We want more drones.
Yeah. So
well, that was the interesting thing. Well, I lost my thought. But you want to go to a story?
Sure. Did you want to do the church thing? Because
that's what I was going to do.
Okay. Yeah. We don't have a jingle for anything like that, do we?
Oh, just hit any jingle.
Hit any jingle? Hold on. I gotta get into my jingler.
Give us some lasers or something.
Well, how about this?
It will kill.
Okay. Well, so,
here.
Gosh. Okay.
Hallelujah.
There we go. All right. So here's something that, so obviously, my church, went to online, shut down its building, a little bit more by choice than it was mandated. But I hear churches down there in Southern California are actually having their permits for a meeting pulled. So they're actually officially not legally allowed to gather, which I thought was interesting. But we're going to go with this story here. NewYorkTimes.com. So you know it's going to be great. A Sunday without church in crisis. A nation asks, what is community? Oh my gosh.
That sounds like the church we met at, Basil.
What is community, brothers and sisters?
The buzzword of the church. Go ahead.
It was Sunday morning and the vast parking lots of Bridgeway Community Church sat empty. Instead of greeting thousands of worshipers, volunteers stood in the damp cold, ready to explain to anyone who might not have heard that services are now online only, at least until the threat of COVID-19 has passed. Inside, the Missions Cafe was closed. The halls no longer resounded with congregations singing or children racing to Sunday school. For a church whose stated mission is to be a multicultural community, quote, where people were sad they had to wait a week to come back, end quote, waiting took on a whole new meaning. This week, as the coronavirus has spread, one American ritual after another has vanished. March Madness is gone. No more morning gym workouts or lunches with coworkers. No more visits to grandparents and nursing homes. The Boston Marathon, held through war and weather since 1897, was postponed. And now it was a Sunday without church. Governors from Kentucky to Maryland to North Carolina moved to shut down services. Ooh. Harsh language. Mm-hmm. Governors shut down services, hoping to slow the disease's spread. Catholic dioceses stopped public mass, and some parishes limited attendance at funerals and weddings to immediate family. On Sunday morning, the Vatican closed to coming Holy Week services to the public. The number of Americans who regularly attend church service has been steadily declining in recent years. Many have left the traditions of their childhood, finding solace and identity in new ways. But for the 1 in 3 adults who attend religious services weekly, the cancellations have meant a life rhythm disrupted. And for the broader country, canceled services were another symbol of a lost chance to be still, to breathe, and to gather together in one of the oldest ways humans know, just when such things were needed most. Across the country, congregations made due on Sunday as national warnings against large gatherings rose. Some churches chose to gather in person anyway, and they were all rounded up and put in FEMA camps. Nope. Others buckled down and tried something new. In interviews, Americans who attend churches large and small, from Minneapolis to Louisville to Raleigh, North Carolina, described how they had been faring these last few days without an important anchor in their lives. Okay, I'm going to go through this. Lots of empty chairs, thousands of empty chairs, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this is where I thought it was interesting. It's got a section here where it says, an unraveling of social fabric. Now, keep in mind, this is in the New York Times. They're not necessarily, the most friendly to, just religion. I'll say religion in general. In Northeast Minneapolis, Stephanie O'Brien got the email just after noon on Friday. Worship on Sunday at her church, Mill City, was canceled. The public elementary school where the church meets each week was pulling all permits until at least the day after Easter Sunday. That's a while to guard against the virus. So much in this world is uncertain that even the small consistency of gathering each week can become the most certain part of someone's life, said Mrs. O'Brien, a co-pastor. I gotta say, that's quite the classic pastoral hyperbole there, I think. We're all you've got. Everything's so crazy. This is the one moment of certainty that you have. Quote, it's like pulling the string and unraveling of the social fabric, she said. Quote, I also don't want people to lose their sense of meaning and purpose. Well, that's very pastoral. A lot of pastoral caring there.
Are people really going to lose meaning and purpose?
Meaning and purpose because they can't go to church.
Intense.
Look. Hey, I'm a fan of church. I'm a big fan of church, but it's okay. You're not going to lose your meaning and purpose because you miss a week. But in the 12 years since she started the church, she had seen that this was a group of instinctively jumped in to help one another. Each Sunday, worshipers arrived at the school early to help transform the auditorium into their sanctuary and pack it all up when they finished. And sure enough, this Saturday morning, when she checked on the church's Facebook group, a young couple had shared a flyer they had designed and encouraged others to print out and distribute on their blocks. Quote, need someone to watch your kids so you can go to work? Need someone to pick up groceries, medicine, supplies, etc.? Need someone to help you find free food? Need something else? We're young, currently healthy people with relatively flexible schedules. Call, text, or email us. I really like this, Gons. Is somebody doing this in your town?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. A lot of people are
Yeah,
definitely
you know
doing it.
what? This is the biggest thing. I like this because it's the biggest sign of churches actually doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
Even though you're not, there's a lot of people freaking out about services not being held on Sunday, talking about, this church has no faith because they didn't keep their service open. It's not about that. I mean, if your permit gets pulled, your permit gets pulled. But to then turn around and devote yourself to helping the people in your neighborhood, that's what it's all about. I really like this.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, this is a time for the church to be the church in terms of not just, even it doesn't really matter with the theology in terms of, or I guess eschatology maybe is the more
Yeah.
appropriate term there. But yeah, to act on, what would Jesus do and really get out there and help people out because, there's that narrative that it's targeting older people and that kind of thing, but that's in the realm of the virus. But in general, people respond like this. This is good. And the churches respond like this. This is good. I would be concerned if the church was not responding in this way.
Yeah,
in
no,
general,
this is
so.
great. I'm loving it. So good job, everybody doing that. And yeah, we're in this place right now where I think the biggest, people are talking about a lot of tests, especially for Christians at this moment, with the lockdown and impending mark of the beast, things like that. And we're all going to be tested. I think the biggest test is if your church shut down, are you just staying at home griping about it, or are you going out and doing something? I don't know. I think that's the mentality that you're going to have to take, because we know that in the past, historically, and as is written, so it shall be. The church will come under serious persecution. It's just going to become very unpopular to be a follower of Jesus. But just because you have a place to show up to on Sunday doesn't mean that you're really following in Jesus's footsteps. The real test is how are you going to respond to this type of, I would say, soft persecution. It's not really persecution, but hey, you're getting your permits pulled. That's something. That's not nothing.
Well, it's a little more. I mean, this is another story from around the world, but this is South Korea. Warns churches over flouting restrictions, and this is Associated Press. A South Korean province surrounding Seoul has threatened to shut down nearly 140 churches that have failed to implement preventative measures amid a spread of the coronavirus in the country's most populous metropolitan region. That's a tough name. Gyeonggi Province said Tuesday that it had issued an administrative order for the churches to list the name of attendees, screen them for fever, and ensure that they wear masks and are at least 2 meters apart during services until March 29th. The province can close the church and fine them as much as $2,400 if they fail to abide by the order. More than 70 of the province's COVID-19 cases have been connected to gatherings at Protestant churches. 46 of the infections have come from a small church in the city of Seongnam, where officials possibly worsened infections by using the same spray bottle to inject salt water into the mouths of followers in an ill-advised effort to disinfect them.
What?
Yeah,
Salt water? Oh no!
I don't know. Yeah, some bad,
That's not
some
good.
bad internet PR or internet propaganda. South Korea has confirmed 84 new cases of the virus and 6 more deaths in the past 24 hours, bringing its total numbers to 8,320 infections and 81 fatalities. And it goes into some other places here, but I mean, I guess if the church, it's interesting because just locally here in our church, we did have service on Sunday, but we didn't do a lot of the communion and that kind of thing. But nobody was shaking hands. Nobody, there was nothing. Everyone was kind of keeping their distance, and that was weird. And even just walking around public, or
You didn't get all those church lady hugs that you love so much?
yeah, none of that. Yep.
Okay.
It's awkward and weird, but I mean,
I like church lady hugs.
but they were trying to figure out, and I was helping, the church here try to figure out how to get the live stream up and running, and so they can at least keep a service going. So,
Well, you're a millennial, so you're a de facto
I know,
IT guy.
de facto IT guy. Yeah, that's true. That's a sad truth. Anyway, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I guess until they really shut us down, right? I mean, that's the point at which we will know. But there are other people, having different views or angles about this whole thing. There's
We're
so much.
I know. Let's jump into another story, Gons, here. We're talking about Iran releasing prisoners. You got a jingle you can throw at that?
It will kill.
All right, this is metro.co.uk. This I thought was just great. Iran frees 85,000 prisoners to stop spread of coronavirus. Iran has listen to this. Iran has temporarily freed about 85,000 prisoners in an attempt to prevent the spread of corona. How do you temporarily free prisoners?
Hey guys, come back if it all goes away.
This is just a little break, okay?
Oh, wow.
Judiciary spokesman Ghulam Hossein Ismaili said some 50% of those released are security-related prisoners. Also in the jails, we have taken precautionary measures to confront the outbreak. Ismaili did not elaborate on when those released would have to return to jail. It's not yet known if British Iranian mother Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe will be released from prison. Mrs. Zaghari Ratcliffe was arrested at Tehran's Imam Khomeini airport while traveling to show her young daughter Gabriella to her parents in April 2016. Last week, Javed Rahman, the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Iran, said he had asked Tehran to free all political prisoners temporarily from its overcrowded and disease-ridden jails to help stem the spread of coronavirus. Iran's death toll from coronavirus has reached 853, and a total of 14,991 people have been confirmed infected across the country, one of the worst national outbreaks outside China, where COVID-19 originated. Rahman said earlier in March that Iranian prisoners have been infected with coronavirus. Roughly 9 out of 10 of the over 17,000 cases of the new virus confirmed across the Middle East came from Iran, where authorities denied for days the risk of the outbreak posed. Officials have now implemented new checks for people trying to leave major cities ahead of Nowruz, the Persian New Year, on Friday, but have hesitated to quarantine the areas. Earlier on Monday, the state TV had announced the closure of Massad's Imam Reza Shrine and Qom Fatima Masume Shrine, sparking the demonstrations. Crowds typically pray there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, touching and kissing the shrine. Quote, "We are here to say that Tehran is dang wrong to do that," one Shiite cleric shouted at the shrine in Massad, according to online video. What a great source. Others joined him chanting, "The health minister is dang wrong to do that. The president is dang wrong to do that." Man. There's a lot of people just dang wrong around here.
I like how you start having a southern twang to this Shiite cleric quote.
Yeah, you got to be nice and proper when you're censoring news outlets. Police later dispersed the crowd. State media reported religious authorities and blah, blah, blah. So there is all sorts of demonstrations, people going nuts over in Iran. But releasing 50% of your prisoners, 85,000 prisoners, to try to not spread coronavirus, that's quite the measure to take. I don't think we're quite just freeing 85,000 criminals onto the streets to avoid coronavirus. I think we're a ways off from that over here, huh?
Well, maybe not 85,000, but there's certainly a lot of them getting released, at least according to certain reports. But it is strange, isn't it? It's just kind of like, what do we? The virus. We just release the prisoners. It's just It's just a weird sequence.
Well, it
of
makes
events.
me wonder if it was. I mean, if there's something behind that. Do we have some prisoners that we wanted to? I don't know the nature of these particular prisoners, but let's just say, if we're watching Jack Ryan or something. Usually prisoners who get freed are a little bit irked that they were prisoners in the first place and might take some steps to exact some sort of revenge or something on those who put them in there.
Well,
you know,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
and you just never know, what those people are involved in. I don't
Right.
know. I want to know the math that the government did to try to figure out, what is the math that freeing 85,000 criminals was safer to keep people safe from
Well,
COVID-19.
they would have to really pound the inmates there with the fear factor of it because, yeah, we'll let you out, but yeah, you might get infected and die, so don't do anything crazy. Maybe there's a little bit of a control mechanism there. But this is
Yep.
Business Insider. Los Angeles County is reducing arrests and releasing inmates early to stem the coronavirus outbreak. And it says here, as the novel coronavirus sweeps the country with more than 5,700 cases nationally, LA County has ramped up containment efforts among some of its most vulnerable populations. Inmates, text bigger, getting older, can't
Old
see
man,
better.
make your font bigger, old man.
To slow the spread of coronavirus, LA County, which has the most inmates of any county prison system in the U.S., announced that law enforcement agencies will reduce arrests and activity release inmates. BuzzFeed News reported Monday, quote, "Our population within our jails is a vulnerable population just by who they are, where they are located. So we're protecting that population from potential exposure," Alex Villanueva, a LA County sheriff, told reporters. Over the past 2 weeks, as the number of confirmed coronavirus cases has sharply risen, more than 600 inmates have been released, bringing the county's number of total incarcerated people to 16,459, according to Villanueva. And over the weekend, daily arrest rates in the county fell from its usual trend of 300 to 60. Quote, "That gives you an idea what each agency is doing, and they're doing their best," Villanueva said, adding that 35 inmates are quarantined across 3 jails after displaying symptoms of COVID-19, the disease caused by the virus. No incarcerated individual has tested positive for the disease. Health experts say America's incarcerated population of 2.3 million, the world's largest, will inevitably be affected by the epidemic. It is not a matter of if, but when, according to 55 human rights advocates demanding humanity, not cages. Hey, they're stealing our tagline. Changing it up.
Think outside the cage. Set all the prisoners free and all the animals in the zoo while you're at it.
Human rights and animal rights. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's do you want to shift a little bit? I thought it would be a good idea to kind of browse through timelines that are being presented. I mean, because like I said, for me, going from, oh, this is no big deal, we have these sort of outbreaks every once in a while, to full on dystopian nonsense that's going on now. Like I said, it kind of happened overnight for me. I don't know, which is weird. I think there's, and I hope somebody can kind of connect with this, because I think I found myself in a little bit of the sort of conspiracy apathy almost. Because, like I said, we've had so many other big outbreaks that we're all supposed to be afraid of. So many things we're supposed to be afraid of all the time that I thought it was just going to be kind of another one of those. And so it kind of got lulled a little bit. I did not that, I don't think we're in full blown. I think the way it's presenting and the way people are reacting is much worse than the reality. But, it's much more intense than any of those other cases.
It is. And I'll just mention here that I got a message from, I've been communicating with some people within military or former military. And, they did, according to this, one of my friends here, they did get an alert for the National Guard to go into alert status, but they've been told not to mobilize yet. But to,
well, that's good news.
Yes, but it says here, take time now to prepare your personal equipment, make plans with your family, identify through chain of command any issues to be resolved. So it looks like they're going to be maybe put in place for an extended, maybe it's the last couple weeks of this week here, or this month, I'm sorry, and they're planning something, and, who knows? That's what it kind of feels like, something else, and I know a lot of people have opinions on what that is, but I think the timeline thing is good because there's a few timelines that we have here that in case people aren't aware, and I know, people in the chat, people watching live, maybe, getting all their information from various sources. So this is just, we're not saying we know exactly what is going on, but we're just reporting to you what is being reported out there and trying to bring you a coherent type of timeline here. But you got something to start us off in this little segment here?
So
Do we have a jingle?
timeline-wise
here?
here? Yeah, hit a jingle.
Here, I guess we can
Hit the COVID jingle, baby.
Oh, the COVID jingle.
COVID.
Hit it again. One more time.
COVID.
Who sent that in?
COVID.
You got who sent that in? Who do we have to thank for that?
I got to pull it up. Sorry.
Yeah, pull it up. By the way, people who have not listened to Canary Cry News Talk before, we got a lot of jingles. We're a little light on jingles this episode, but it's a special episode. But we got a lot of jingles. We put a lot of calls out for jingles. So if anybody out there knows their way around some soundboard stuff or some editing software, we'll put calls out for jingles. Send them in. You'll be a producer for that episode. Yeah. Who's the producer that sent in that jingle, Guns?
This was Peter.
Peter, thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
We put out the call. You were the only one who answered, Peter. So you are number one in my book, and also that's a challenge to anybody else. If you want to make us a jingle, you can send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com. Go ahead and do that. Okay, let's get into a little bit of a timeline here, Guns.
Okay.
Because as is being reported constantly, I keep losing my microphone. It keeps drifting away from me.
Gotta keep an eye on it.
I know. Well, it's hard. I can't see anything in this virtual.
You know how
reality
ridiculous? You know how ridiculous you sound when you say "I can't see anything" with your giant googly eyes bouncing
giant
around.
Eyeballs. Yes, these eyeballs—they're just simply cosmetic. My cosmetic eyeballs. So let's see here. I'm just taking from a Westchester News 12 thing here. It's a local news site, but they are getting this. Everybody's getting the same article from like AP and these news distributors. So it's the same article that's found all over the place.
They need to update their website because it's telling me it's not secure. Go ahead.
Ooh, busted.
News 12 Westchester.
Come on, News 12 Westchester. So you'll see right there, December 31st is the start of pretty much every single coronavirus timeline. This says the first cases of what was thought to be pneumonia were reported to the World Health Organization. It is believed that animals sold at the quickly closed Huanan market in Wuhan, China, were the source. Within a week, it is confirmed that the Chinese patients have the novel coronavirus. The WHO, World Health Organization, labels it COVID-19 or coronavirus disease 19. All right, so that's when they have it starting. But there's a couple interesting things that happened before that. I'll just take one step back, and that was Blue Dot AI actually. Well, let's get into this. Let's see if got the right article here. Let's see. I'll just start. We're on Wired.com. An AI epidemiologist sent the first warnings of the Wuhan virus. On January 9th, the World Health Organization notified the public of a flu-like outbreak in China. A cluster of pneumonia cases had been reported in Wuhan, possibly from vendors' exposure to live animals at the Huanan seafood market. The U.S. Centers of Disease for Disease Control and Prevention had gotten the word out a few days earlier on January 6th, but a Canadian health monitoring platform had beaten them both to the punch, sending word of the outbreak to its customers on December 31st. And actually, I had read another article, maybe I threw it in there, that actually had that date significantly earlier. Whether or not they told their customers on December 31st, they were catching signals about this Wuhan virus as early as like December 6th. early December is when they started getting their signals. Blue Dot. Blue Dot uses an AI-driven algorithm that scours foreign language news reports, animal and plant disease networks, and official proclamations to give its clients advanced warning to avoid danger zones like Wuhan. Speed matters during an outbreak, and tight-lipped Chinese officials do not have good track record of sharing information about diseases, air pollution, and other natural disasters, but public health officials at WHO and the CDC have to rely on these very same health officials for their own disease monitoring. So maybe an AI can get there faster. Quote, we know that governments may not be relied upon to provide information in a timely fashion, says Cameron Kahn, Blue Dot's founder and CEO. Quote, we can pick up news of possible outbreaks, little murmurs of forums or blogs of indications of some kind of unusual events going on. Then they go into the algorithm. They talk a lot of tech business, a lot of technical things there. But I thought this was interesting because, and this hasn't been covered a whole lot recently. But when we're talking about the ongoing propagation of how AI is here to save us, and it's the only way that we can evolve past our current state. And, we all need to bow down to the AI gods because they told us about coronavirus before anybody. It gets a little bit worrisome to me
They become like
because
the oracles of life.
that's exactly what I was going to say. This is another example of AI taking the sort of oracular position in human society. I mean, throughout human history, we've had oracles or prophets in one way or another, I'm not going to try to get into the specifics of if those were quite effective all the time or not, but it seems that we can't stay away from making sure that we have some sort of oracle, and AI being a big part of that, especially because when we are moving into sort of a post-spiritual idea of human existence, we need something to replace that. That's what we like to do around here. We got to replace the current, ideas of spirituality and God and how we organize and who we look up to. We need something to take that place, and that's where AI is coming. So there was a while there where Blue Dot was really, I think, in the running for AI ruler of us all, or at least an appendage of that.
Does that have anything to do with the Event 201 that happened before?
Nope.
With the Bill
Event
Gates?
201 was the next one. You want to get right into Event 201?
Well, I mean, if we're looking at timeline, wasn't that all before
I was
December?
going backwards.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I was starting at where the official timelines start, which was December 31st, and then working backwards.
Okay, so we're not going to go into what's happening now in terms of...
We will.
Okay.
We're making our way back to Event 201.
Not everyone's a
That was the
googly-eyed
big
time
reveal.
traveler.
It's the big reveal, man. You gave away the big reveal.
I'm just saying, not everyone understands time forwards and backwards like you do since you've traveled time. So it's hard for us. Which way are we going? What are we doing? Backwards.
201, baby.
Backwards
201,
and forwards.
baby. Event 201.
Okay, go.
All right.
My turn, your turn?
I don't know. You want to take it?
I mean, sure, I can read about it. So we got this website here.
Read about.
This is the Center for Health Security.org. Again, a non-secure website. I don't know what it is with these people. This is Event 201, a global pandemic exercise. This is their website here. About Event 201 exercise was a 3.5-hour pandemic tabletop exercise that simulated a series of dramatic scenario-based facilitated discussions confronting difficult, true-to-life dilemmas associated with response to a hypothetical but scientifically plausible pandemic. 15 global businesses, government, and public health leaders were players in the simulation exercise that highlighted unresolved real-world policy and economic issues that would be solved with sufficient political will, financial investment, and attention now and in the future. The exercise consisted of pre-recorded news broadcasts, live staff briefings, and moderated discussions on specific topics. These issues were carefully designed in a compelling narrative that educated the participants and the audience. the Johns Hopkins Center of Health Security World Economic Forum, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
There you are.
Where's my laser? There it is. Jointly proposed these recommendations, and it goes into the purpose here. And really, I mean, it just lays out kind of the potential scenarios here.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into any of that, or do we?
Yeah.
Okay,
so this was a tabletop simulation.
Right. And let me mention the date here. This says that the Event 201 pandemic exercise conducted on October 18th, 2019, vividly demonstrated a number of these important gaps in pandemic preparedness, as well as some of the elements of the solutions between the public and private sectors that will be needed to fill them. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly propose these recommendations.
Yes, and they've got their recommendations there. So for those who need this in simple terms, a tabletop basically game that they played, which for those who may or may not know, they're basically playing Dungeons and Dragons for health officials and government people.
Yeah.
They're playing Dungeons and Dragons to simulate a disease spreading and how they're going to figure it out. And if we go down, we click on scenario down here. Let me load the page. The Event 201 scenario. Event 201. Remember, this was in October, 2 months before anybody had even really ever heard of coronavirus. Event 201 simulates an outbreak of a novel zoonotic, coming from animals, coronavirus transmitted from bats to pigs to people that eventually becomes efficiently transmissible from person to person, leading to a severe pandemic. The pathogen and the disease it causes are modeled largely on SARS, which is a coronavirus, but it is more transmissible, like COVID, or like our current coronavirus, in the community setting by people with mild symptoms, the exact scenario that we're in. The disease starts in pig farms in Brazil, blah, 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 goes into the details. But there you go. They are running a simulation of what could the world handle a coronavirus pandemic. And, you can watch all sorts of reports of how this went. But the answer is they discovered in October that we could not handle a pandemic level situation of coronavirus 2 months before it actually started happening in December. So, and of course, you got Bill and Melinda Gates hooked in there, which is no surprise to people who track this sort of thing. And you know what? I mean, come on. Luckily, I've even talked to some normies, some muggles, some non-conspiracy folk. And you tell them about, if you're looking for a way to have a conversation that they just can't, shrug off at the outset, you start talking about Event 201, because there it is. You got all the business, government, and health organization officials coming together to play Dungeons and Dragons, seeing what would happen on a coronavirus outbreak 2 months before the true coronavirus outbreak. And of course, it's happening exactly how they predicted. So coincidences, folks, coincidences. And of course, we're not the first ones to bring this up. But in case anybody was not aware of Event 201, when you're looking at the timeline of how this coronavirus thing started, you got to go further back than December 31st. It is not a coincidence that all news articles only start everything at December 31st. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah. Let me actually do a little, I guess, a side tangent thing and just mention this because I had several people mention it to me, so I'll just relay it to you. The audience out there, and that is the 2017 Trump card, the Economist magazine cover, and I think I broke down the first couple cards back then. But so the second card,
we've done a couple references to it. Tell us about it.
So we have the Judgment card, and the interesting thing with Trump there, obviously sitting on Earth, with the word judgment below it. And on his in his right hand, he's holding what looks kind of like a crown or some kind of, I don't know. What does it look like to you, Basil?
I don't know. I just tried to bring it closer to me in virtual reality space, and I am so close to Trump's little head. I can barely see. I don't know. Yeah, like a crown, or it kind of reminds me of something the Pope would have, a little golden ball with
Little
some
golden ball with a little
protuberances.
yeah.
Kind of looks like a coronavirus to me, Gons.
And in his left hand, he's got a staff with an eagle, the phoenix.
Yeah.
And then he's sitting on the American flag, which it's normal. But people have pointed out that even at the time, people pointed out it kind of looks like he's using the American flag as toilet paper. And it's just interesting that we're in this era now where all of a sudden people are freaking out about toilet paper.
Toilet paper? That's the connection.
If people are bringing stuff up,
it.
I am just relaying you what people tell me.
I like it.
There's other stuff here that's
everything's crazy,
noteworthy to break down, but for time reasons, we won't do that today. But yeah, just something to point out there. With other stuff.
No, very interesting.
Right hand, left hand.
By the way, for those who don't know, if you don't listen to Canary Cry News Talk, first of all, you should. Okay, I see a lot of people in there I haven't met before. I'm happy to see you guys here, but not only do we do a bunch of stuff on YouTube, Gons mainly, but we also put all this stuff out as podcasts. So head to your favorite podcast player, search Canary Cry News Talk, and subscribe, because we're doing this every single week, folks. And you're gonna want to get in on that. And those of you who have listened to the podcast, you've heard me tease a segment. Basil's bunker, baby. People are always asking me what's in my bunker. How am I prepared? What's your favorite tinfoil hat brand? And I got it all for you, baby. I'm going to keep bringing it to the show. But one of the last ones that I talked about, here's the thing. I've been a mild prepper for many years. Okay, and so this has been a real interesting situation to suddenly be. I don't even know, vindicated. All that time and energy I've spent preparing, everybody running around buying toilet paper, scooping up all the shelves, and I'm just sitting back, baby. I've been ready for years, so that's very nice. But talking about the toilet paper freak out, my last Basil's bunker, I just wanted to let everybody know a prime apocalypse tip here, and I recommend everybody think about this. Instead of stockpiling toilet paper, it takes a lot of space to store the toilet paper. It's highly flammable. It's a fire hazard. It's just generally a pain in the butt. No pun intended. But my solution, last Christmas, I was given a bidet. That's right, a bidet. It's very Euro. I'm not that Euro of a guy, but a bidet is probably the most Euro thing about me. And Americans are a little freaked out by bidets, understandably. That's totally okay. But hey, you can get bidet attachments to your toilet for really cheap. I mean, I saw one starting at $25, a little attachment. You hook it up to the water source coming straight out of your wall there. It doesn't suck up the actual toilet water. You get fresh water. And I don't even need any toilet paper. I haven't purchased any toilet paper in preparation. As long as the water's got pressure, I am all good. And I recommend people. It's a good experience. It's overall it's improved the bathroom experience. So get on it, everybody.
All right.
Have you gotten your bidet yet?
No. Not
well,
yet.
I see Jason in the chat room has a bidet. He says bidets for the win. So get on it, folks.
Okay. There's your PSA, Basil's bunker. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know how to transition.
Are you
out
okay?
Of that.
Yeah. Come on, man. You're a professional. You should have something to jump right on. You want to go back to the timeline?
We can go back to the timeline. And are we going to go the opposite direction now? Actually, look, I did have an article up there that was just another example for people to use as official documentation, or at least a reality that they were doing this simulation, the Event 201, back in October. But I think we can move past that one. other than to mention, as a side note, Bill Gates, since then, he purchased a yacht, like a crazy yacht, right? And I know some people were saying that story wasn't true, but they always say that about, you know,
Apparently,
rich people.
no stories about Bill Gates are true.
That's what's weird, right? Anyway, so he bought a boat, and then he stepped down from the board at Microsoft and Berkshire Hathaway, along with like every CEO known to every giant company.
That was weird. Do you have a rundown on that? Why did all the CEOs step down? Was that a Me Too thing or a Pizzagate thing or they were all saw COVID coming and just wanted to chill?
Potentially all of the above. I would imagine that some of it had to do with some of those issues there, but I think regardless, because we don't know for sure, we know, at least in my opinion, regardless of whether it's because there's a lockdown of an arrest of these people coming or not, they definitely cashed out, probably, right? As CEOs, they got a huge pump in the market, and they got to cash out because it really is insider trading. If you're cashing out at the time, I mean, look at when they cashed out, or look when they stepped down. It's all at the end of January. It's before all the lockdowns started happening. So it's a little bit too convenient in my mind. And
and there was the Walton family, the Walmart family. They moved $48 billion from Walmart stock into their family trust, which means they were trying to protect the money.
Yep.
And that happened a little earlier. I think that happened around October.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of rumors flying around now with the changing of the guard in terms of the hierarchy, so to speak, of the NWO. It's hard to, I mean, this is such a weird time because I just have no idea who to really truly trust when it comes to information. And obviously there's your official sources, but even then it's like, okay, how do we know that that's official?
You can trust me, Gons.
I know I trust the googly eyes, but other than that,
trust me. Just look into my eyes and trust what I tell you. Go to canarycryradio.com/support. You value what we do here, and you don't want us to run ads and sell your attention for our own personal gain. So the only way to keep this show going is to go to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk, and we do an extended report every week. You get bonus episodes. There's tons of bonus episodes there. And, we're on a value for value system here. If you gain any value from what we do, the least you could do is let us know by sharing some value back.
Yeah.
That's just my plug.
Your little plug. And I do
seamless plug.
Yes, seamless plug. I do want to mention we did break 1,000 people on canarycry.community. And there is a big coronavirus thread on canarycry.community. So if you're in there, shout outs to those people. And as you can see on the screen here, the first post with this thread was published on January 24th by Josh the Baptist. And it's a very long thread. I think it's got 2,000 replies and just all kinds of links and information. And we did want to turn this into an episode itself and help us with maybe a roadmap type of thing. But if you're looking for a conglomerate of information, a place where it's all in one place, go to canarycry.community, become a member, and jump into that coronavirus thread because there is a lot. And I've thrown in a couple updates as well.
That's a great point. Everybody here, you need to go to canarycry.community and sign up and join up. Because here's the thing. We've had Canary Cry community on Facebook for a long time, but if you're looking for a place that's off the grid, out from under the prying eyes of Big Brother and lizard people like Mark Zuckerberg, you're going to want to go to canarycry.community. It is totally separate from Facebook. I know it's a pain in the behind. You got to make an actual account and you give us your email, but that's it. That's all we take, baby. We don't mine you for information and then sell it for our own personal gain. And not only is there just an expansive coronavirus thread, we've also got our Dank Memes thread. We're on Dank Memes Season 2. All the best memes that you're going to want to collect and stash for later use. And, you know, it's a great place. We got Canarians, listeners of this show and Canary Cry Radio, who are getting together, fellowshipping. There's a prayer wall. People are sharing their stories, connecting with weirdos just like them in really a meaningful way and in a way that isn't being monetized by a billionaire. So that's always nice, too. You can head to canarycry.community. I highly recommend everybody do that. And I just saw, as I'm talking here, Jade signed up, and so I'm just going to approve you right now, Jade. You are in the club. All so right. See, people signing up right now. If you go sign up to canarycry.community, I'll just approve you live on the air here, and we'll get everybody to welcome you in. Make sure to stop by that introduce yourself thread and meet everybody.
Yeah. Couple more. Did you have something or
no?
Because I had a couple more layers to this with the whole thing, and my kind of opinion with what's taking place here. You know, a lot of people think that the economy crashed because of Corona, but I think people that have been paying attention to the economy have been warning about the economy crashing for much, much longer. And I think the tell was about 6 months ago. They started doing these repo markets, which is these basically they print money overnight. And the banks all take it in and they trade it with one another. They're basically making it, you know, they're swapping the dollars to make it look like there's a lot of liquidity, and that allows for credit cards and debit cards and all that to work. And I think it was about 6 months ago, maybe it was less, but it was about 50 billion a night that they were printing.
Oh my gosh!
And that quickly, last week or a couple weeks ago, went up to a couple trillion over a span of a few days. And then Mnuchin came out and said, the Treasury Secretary came out and said, we will do unlimited liquidity. And now what did they announce? Like $5 trillion?
Liquidity?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Unlimited liquidity. And now they're saying, what was it, 5 trillion that they're printing? And the way they didn't want to say they're printing 1 trillion a night. So they said, oh, we're doing 500 billion twice a night. And that's how they announced their $1 trillion of printing per night.
Oh my gosh!
To keep the markets alive. So that could be a reason to get everybody to basically go inside, shut down the businesses, everybody relax for a few weeks. We're doing a crazy monetary reset. And
is that part of that modern monetary theory?
I don't know all the details. I'm not an economist, guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not a pro. I'm not an economist either. But modern monetary theory, as I understand it briefly, is basically governments first we had based on the scarcity of gold. Then we moved over to fiat, which is, based on debt. And now modern monetary theory is basically the government's figuring out that they can print any money they need ever, and it doesn't matter. And as long as you move things around, you don't get hyperinflation. And so governments basically have an unlimited checkbook through this modern monetary theory thing, as long as you balance everything out. It's basically saying, hey, we're the government. We do whatever we want. And no, we don't have to answer to the market or the economy or anybody, because what we say goes, right. Which, I don't know. I don't know how it makes sense. I know there's a lot of critics of modern monetary theory. And again, I'm not a professional, so I'll have to do a little bit more looking into it before I can talk about it and with any sort of, I don't know, real knowledge.
You're going to have to go into the doc community because there's a lot of people.
I know. I just glanced at the chat. People are hopping in. I'm loving this. Woo! Okay.
One of the other things too is recent news is I think they're talking about giving out $1,000 to everybody in the United States.
Yeah, I've heard different numbers, but yeah, 1,000 is one of them.
1,000 was the initial, and then if there's still problems, then they'll pump in a little bit more. But
yeah, I've heard 2,500 and 4,500.
Yeah, and I remember. I think Bush did that. Bush Jr.
did that.
Not
actually
1,000.
Sent money.
I think there was a thing where we got a check for a few $100s back in. You might have been too young.
I was a baby. Yeah,
I think I had just turned 18 or something. But yeah, they definitely did something like that. I can't remember if it was. I think it was before the 2008 crash. But anyway, so that's something. I've heard people on interviews and stuff talk about. universal basic income makes sense during the tragedy. You know, like of course
Right.
it makes sense during
Yeah, I
the
get it.
tragedy.
It's just a little, you know what? That's fine with me. I'm not even mad at that. I mean, we're giving stimulus packages to,
Giant corporations
giant
and banks,
corporations. We're giving tax cuts and money to billionaires. You know what? There's a big conversation to be had about socialism and universal basic income as an ongoing thing. But in a moment like this, people need it, man. Like,
Yep.
that's fine. I don't even care. Like,
I know.
I don't, here's the problem. I mean, there's a weird balance to be struck because, the sort of fiscally conservative stance is, small government. We don't need the government's money. Government doesn't need our money type of thing. That's fine. I'm totally down with that. But then there's the, fiscally liberal, which is, hey, sign your life away and the government takes care of everything. But then there's like, I don't really care about the government's checkbook. If they want to send everybody some money, go ahead and do it. I mean, the sad part is, and the argument that people will probably yell at me in the chat room is that, that's our taxes. And, we're probably going to have to end up paying that back twofold at least with some sort of tax increase or austerity measures.
There's just future generations to pay for that,
Yeah, well, you know what?
happening.
I'm having to pay for my past generation, so
Pass
future
it
generations
along.
can pay for me. Modern monetary theory. I don't know.
Well, there's a pretty fringy view apart from that's kind of some of it I think is interesting and appropriate in terms of a warning or something like that, but it's difficult. Do you want me to share some of that now because it gets into the NESARA,
Let's take a
GESARA?
quick Let's take a very quick break, and I definitely want to hear about the NESARA thing. You were telling me about that. I had not heard about it. Real quick, we're going to take a 30-second break, and I'm going into Canary Cry Community.
Okay.
We've got, I think that's a funny spelling of Kylie. Thank you, Kylie. You are in the group. We got Oscar Fan. Oscar Fan, yep, that's a real email. You are in, Oscar Fan. Ned, what's up? Ned, you are in. Let's see, M. Brook 7, welcome to the club. Texas Patriot 1984, you are in. Phenomenite, cool name, you're in. Captain Baldbeard, love it, welcome. Landerson 21, you're in. Papa, wow, good name get. You're in, Papa. And Her Blue, you are in Her Blue. Thank you, everybody. Those are the new members of canarycry.community. Get in there. It's a safe place to chat with people just like you. We got some great mods in there. We're all being friends, praying with each other, learning about each other, and keeping an eye on all the important stuff that includes dank memes. So head to canarycry.community, join up.
There was
all right.
There was an earthquake today too, just as a side note.
Oh, classic.
In Utah. And that immediately brought to my attention, and I think I tweeted it out, is the Utah data center okay? Was there a judgment on the Utah data center?
That would be a way to reset some things.
I know, right? Just big earthquake in Utah. But what's interesting is that the Utah angel at the Mormon church lost his or her, I don't know, the angel lost its trumpet.
The big golden angel on top of the Mormon temple. Yeah.
Yeah. Lost
the trumpet fell off.
Fell off in the earthquake.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, maybe there's a symbol there.
Yeah, I wonder.
Last Trump. I can't find the image.
The last trumpet. Yeah. Okay, tell me about this NESARA thing.
All right, you want me to go there? Okay.
Yeah. Let's look at. I'm not going to say I'm not going to push back because it sounds like nonsense to me, but I want to hear about it.
I'm going to just, somebody has been sharing this link and I went through it. And again, there's some parts of it that are okay. I think it's kind of interesting and appropriate and consistent with some of the things I've mentioned. But there's, as always, with everybody's eschatology, it's a little different. Some of it could be a little alarmist. Some of it is less. But this is avoidthemark.com. It was shared to me. I don't know exactly who the author is.
Sounds legit.
Sounds legit, I know. But again, I'm just going through the information here. And the title of this is The Mark of the Beast Isn't What You Think, Trump, QAnon, Saint Germain, and COVID-19. And it starts off talking about Revelation 13 and 14, and that's the passages about, the beast that causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in the right hand or in the forehead, that no man might buy or sell save he has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, and the 666 thing. And it goes into some of the just your general beliefs about that. And I know that we've talked about it like this, and this is an important point. The article points out how it's not really the Antichrist who issues the mark. If you really read the scriptures carefully in Revelation 13 there, it's the second beast out of the earth that appears and speaks like a lamb but has horns. And that's something to keep in mind, that it's not the Antichrist himself that's issuing the mark. It's this second entity, this false prophet. Now, where I disagree with this document is that it says here, the second beast, the beast out of the earth, the false prophet system, which is also called the Alliance. And I don't know where this guy got that. So I don't know where we got the beast of the earth is the Alliance. But you'll understand why he says that in his overall argument here. But it says, is the one that gives the mark. The beast is a system that represents hope, wealth, and power to the people. If we take things back to verse 11 in Revelation 13, it becomes much clearer that the second beast, like a lamb, arises in the end times. And this verse 11 and 12, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. Now, again, this article, or blog post, argues that the second beast is a system. I do believe there's a system element, but I think it's the false prophet, because there's an actual individual involved here because of what he does. If you read into Revelation 13, the second half there, calling fire down from heaven, that's what the prophet Elijah does. So there's a consistency there where it does seem to come down to an individual that dictates all this, not just a system. I think it's obviously both. But and then it gets into how the idea that the Antichrist is the one that actually issues the mark is a, quote, non-biblical Jesuit idea that's been popularized by media controlled by the first beast, according to this guy. It's a pretty intense claim there. And he references this American Horror Story show, I guess, where they even quote Revelation 13, but a little bit off. Have you noticed that, Basil, in like mainstream movies in Hollywood and stuff, when they reference the Bible, they'll usually not take it verbatim. They'll like switch around a couple words here and there, or have like a couple different things that change it up just a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed that before.
No, I have, and I've noticed, they'll also, this is nothing new, but they'll, just take like 3 words of a verse, right, and will completely switch it around. Yeah.
So basically he says here, the American Horror Story, this deceptive character even has a suspicious 666 scar behind one of his ears. This is completely inaccurate and only further perpetuates the lie. This represents the misinformation widely believed by Christians and non-Christians alike. However, Revelation 13:1 actually teaches us that the first beast is the Antichrist system, the spirit of Belial and his armies. The idea that there's an individual Antichrist is the most popular idea circulated throughout the world, but what's popular doesn't equal what's biblically true. And again, those are points of contention. The Bible mentions a man of sin. So, it really does appear to be an individual man of sin.
You're kind of losing me a little bit.
I'm going to keep going. Let me keep going. Okay, we're getting to the heart of it here.
I know who the Antichrist is. Okay.
Chill out. Okay, so he gets into the two beast idea here. And what he's doing here in this article is he's equating the two beasts in Revelation, the first one and the second one, to the two polar opposites. The dark magic described these agendas as, quote, right hand or left hand paths, light and dark, bad and evil. And so we've often heard, and I know when I watch anime, oftentimes it's like they're all demons, but then there's like the good demons and then the bad demons, Mm-hmm. And there's that whole white magic, black magic type of duality type thing. Mm-hmm. So that's what he's saying. He's saying the first beast is that evil side, and that second beast is that, hopeful side, the positive side. And he is arguing that side is what's taking over the whole QAnon and all the hope and all that stuff. He's saying is kind of the big misdirection, Trojan horse type of thing, where it looks like it's the corruption being eradicated, but in fact, the whole thing was on purpose. The whole idea was to get the world as corrupt as possible with human trafficking and drug trafficking, satanic ritual abuse and sacrifice and all that horrible stuff that we've talked about and people are exposing. Well, there's a light side. And remember, Satan appears an angel of light. So there's that whole concept. But let me get to the actual NESARA thing, because that's where it gets fascinating and has a connection to the whole COVID thing. So he argues in the post that he doesn't think the mark is an actual chip, which again I don't have too much of a problem with, but he suggests that it's going to have to do with this worldwide quantum currency reset. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is where the information is murky, because some of his premises are fall on New Age, what New Age people have shared. So keep that in mind. It's not that this is going to happen. It's that the New Agers have said this. I think he's just reporting it. But there is, again, the cabal. There's the duality, the two sides to it. And I'm just going to read what he wrote here about NESARA, GESARA, and Saint Germain. Quote, NESARA began with Saint Germain. This is the event that has been in the works throughout all of human history. Saint Germain is one of the most key figures in the New Age belief system and is said to be an ascended master. But his spirit is ancient. It goes far beyond what we know as the human of Saint Germain. And later mentions how some people believe that Trump is actually a reincarnation of Saint Germain. And the reason is because there is this thing called NESARA and GESARA. So NESARA stands for National Economic Security and Reformation Act. It applies only to the United States, while GESARA, GESARA, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, applies to the rest of the world. For centuries, elite families who, quote, follow the light, or the agenda of the second beast, the beast of the land, have been contributing to this world trust. Saint Germain specifically stated that the money in this world trust would be used in the future for prosperity and humanitarian purposes. Now, after over 250 years of contributions by the rich and elite followers of light and compounding interest, Saint Germain's world trust, get this, according to this article, is over $1 quadrillion. That is one with 45 zeros behind it. Basil, how do we confirm this information?
That's more money than exists on the earth
that we know about. But if they can print,
that's
print
bigger
forever,
than the global GDP, or I guess the pancake GDP, depending on your views of the shape of the earth.
Well, the all money visualization chart has the derivatives as 1 quintillion or something like that. So it's even way
but
beyond
derivatives, that's not money.
I know that.
Okay.
But okay, let me keep going here. Let me just wrap this thing up. Let me find the tab again. Lost the tab. No. Okay, here we go. All right. It's important to note that the U.S. was none other than Saint Germain's own Masonic experiment. A lot of claims. The reason there's a program specifically for the U.S. and a separate worldwide program is because the U.S. determines to a large extent what happens to the rest of the world. Blah, blah, blah. Draining the swamp, the false prophet system. NESARA was secretly passed by the U.S. Congress on March 9th, 2000. The military forced Bill Clinton to sign it into law under threat.
Okay, if something was secretly passed, it means it's in a document in the laws somewhere that you can look up.
Right.
So is there a document for this?
You want to look it up? I tried to look some stuff up. I did find some NESARA documents from fairly early on, but there weren't anything. Let me try to look up. Let me do a real quick search here on the Internet Archives.
I would love to look it up, but I can't use my keyboard when I have this thing on my face.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of things.
I don't know. Somebody would need to link the document. If a law was passed, you'll be able to find the document. Right.
Well, there's stuff in the 2012, 2013 time span. Take a look at the other. It's a video.
I just want to say a quick note for people who are making going to canarycry.community to sign up and join the group. I apologize. One of the other mods got in there and approved you, so I don't know who you are. You've been approved, but I can't call you out on the air here. Oh wait, maybe I can. Nope. Yeah, I don't know. I'll keep working on it.
Okay. All right. So the point is, let's just assume that that's correct. I don't know. I haven't looked at it enough to really know. But it says that the ones who are behind the entire world QAnon movement and are part of the second beast system, they actually forced Clinton. Blah blah blah. Okay. As a program, NESARA can be viewed from a couple different perspectives. The New Age says that NESARA is, quote, a spiritually directed financial program that can be attributed back to Saint Germain. It was derived or designated to provide a new economic system for the world during the time of transition. The transition they mention is happening right now with Donald Trump, the White Hats, and QAnon, and eliminating the cabal or the deep state and, quote, draining the swamp. The power is shifting from the dark cabal or the Antichrist system to the alliance or the false prophet beast system, or the false prophet system, from the first beast to the second beast, as we discussed earlier, or as QAnon likes to say, from dark to light. And that's the basic argument here. And the NESARA thing is interesting. If you go, you look at some of their documents and they talk about how they're going to put everything back on the gold standard, and there's going to be a Jubilee day where the debt is forgiven, and it all sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
The thing that's weird, here's what I'll say. Okay, who knows if this is actually what's going on? But there is definitely some turbulence in the economy, and it certainly does seem like they're going to do something. And whether that be a reset to this regard to the NESARA GESARA, I don't know. But it's out there. And the other part of it is that in order to accept this money, because they're going to forgive all mortgages, bank debts, credit card debt, abolish income taxes, abolish the IRS, abolish the Fed. I mean, that would be fantastic, right? I mean, we would be all for it. But in order to receive any money from this trust, first off, they say they're going to pay off all the oil and the big banks and all that stuff because they have, 45 zeros behind their number. The big warning here is the eternal oath. And so before we, the people, can accept these funds, each individual will be required to make a pledge to use this money for humanitarian purposes or make some sort of large-scale oath to humanity. And there's a blueprint already supposedly for this. And,
yeah. Okay.
And they're saying that it's, I get it.
I get it.
And they're saying that don't take it. If this is the mark, he's saying this is the prophesied
so this
mark.
is
And
a
I'm
bad
saying
thing.
maybe.
So this is a Luciferian big bank account that if you pledge to Lucifer, you can have all your debts paid.
Pretty much the same thing as the Matthew 5:30 or 5:34 and 35. Or I'm sorry, this is a different scripture here. But basically, yeah, with when Jesus was taken out into the desert and was tempted, offered the kingdoms of the world in exchange for worship to Satan. So that he's making the argument that that's basically the same offer that's going to be given to everybody. And I guess you can say that could be a part of the mark. But again, we don't know if that's the mark, but certainly it would be very strange if all of a sudden they want everybody to sign a document or something and be part of people have brought up the ID 2020 thing, the digital internet ID identification, and how it might tie to a vaccine. And if you don't have the vaccine, then you don't have the ID, and then you can't participate in civilization. And there you have it. You got the mark of the beast, or at least something similar to it. So it doesn't have to be this NESARA or GESARA thing. I'm saying maybe definitely there's some stuff that
people are
in mind.
begging you for links in the chat, by the way.
Oh, links in the chat. Okay, here.
Yeah.
Let me,
throw some links in the chat, and I'll say I think I found the list of people who got approved. We got Jay. Thanks, Jay. We got CLows72. Welcome to the group. Turok65. Welcome to CanaryCry.community. Cat Brat. Burn Dog. Corona Club. A Young Pilot. And the Fed.
And the Fed. There you go.
And the Fed. Nyoted. There we go. Thanks. Welcome to CanaryCry.community. Welcome to the club. Get in there. Check out some dang memes. Oh, and one more just came through, so I want to say a big ol' hello to, well, as soon as this is so hard to do stuff with this thing on my head. This is so difficult. And
it looks like you're just sitting there, not doing much.
Truth, no censorship. You're in the club. Thanks for being here. Everybody head to CanaryCry.community. That's a real URL, by the way. It's crazy.
Yeah, I apologize for the rant, but the whole point was that there's an end to this potentially that has to do with identification and a vaccine.
Yeah, well, certainly
if it was demanded of everybody.
Yeah, well, we can certainly expect a vaccine coming. That's going to be an interesting one, and of course, if you're like us, you're not necessarily afraid of getting COVID-19 because it's probably not going to do much for, middle millennials like you and I, otherwise healthy individuals, will get a little cold or flu-like symptoms. But of course, if you don't get the vaccine, then you're a bad person because you're going to spread it to everybody else.
Yep, that's
and then you get your
doable.
you'll be publicly shamed.
Well, it's what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. There's something to do with what you just said there, but as usual.
Guns, this is crazy. We've been doing this show. How long have we been going? I've lost my recording software. I have no idea where it went in my big virtual reality space. I can't find it. Oh, there it is.
Lost in VR.
Yeah. That's too bad. I'm not seeing any waveforms being created, but we've been going for, an hour and 45 minutes. That's pretty impressive, Guns.
Well, that's when we started hitting record.
Oh, yeah. So I guess. Yeah. Well, I'm glad everybody made it onto the live stream because I am not seeing waveforms on my recording, and that is strange, and I don't know why.
Oh, here's what I was going to say. Is that I've been hearing, and this has gone on for a while, but a lot of people think that the coronavirus, the form of it, the flu form, has already hit the United States, and that's why everyone was sick during the holidays and everything else. And that's possible. Have you heard that one? That people are like, I think I already had it last month.
Yeah, well, I think I might have had it too. Yeah, I had a respiratory flu about 4 weeks ago.
There you go. You might have had it.
Yeah, and I kind of had a little cough that was holding on, but yeah, I actually did not get diagnosed. I just had it. So I don't know. I very well could have had coronavirus, and if that's the case, sorry everybody in my life.
It's a good thing you're quarantined then, huh?
I did quarantine. I socially distanced myself when I was in bed dying of the flu for a week.
Couldn't breathe.
Yeah, or not dying. Either way. So, what do you want to do, Gon? Should we keep going? Find some more stories? I'm actually having fun, but I don't know if this would work too well on the actual podcast. But it's fun hanging out with everybody here.
Yeah, I'm sure we can go into the chat and see if we can pick out a couple chat.
Yeah, why don't you float around, see if you can find something in the chat, and I'll do some stuff while you do that.
Here's something before we do the chat thing. Here's something that I wanted to mention as well.
Okay.
This is the Electronic Frontier Fund. This article was published on March 12th. Just want everybody to be aware of it. The Earn It bill. Have you heard of the Earn It bill?
No. What is that?
Is the government's plan to scan every message online.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine an internet where the law required every message sent to be read by government-approved scanning software. Companies that handle such messages wouldn't be allowed to securely encrypt them, or they'd lose legal protections that allows them to operate. What? I'll read through. Well, I guess I'll read through a little bit more here. That's what the Senate Judiciary Committee has proposed and hopes to pass into law. The so-called Earn It bill, sponsored by Senator Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal, will strip Section 230 protections away from any website that doesn't follow a list of best practices, meaning those sites can be sued into bankruptcy. The best practices list will be created by a government commission headed by Attorney General Barr, who has made it very clear that he would like to ban encryption and guarantee law enforcement legal access to any digital message.
Yeah, I heard of that too. That is complete madness.
It's madness. And I think they don't use the word encryption in the document, from what I understand, but they say like we have to be able to access the messages, like private messages, which implies breaking the encryption or just removing the encryption.
Yeah, well, you'd have a back door. Every company that does messaging, would have a back door, which most of them do already. There's only a very select few. Signal is one that I trust. If you're not on Signal, you should download Signal and use it to chat with your buddies. Just for, and there's always what do you got to hide? Why are you trying to protect your privacy? Well, I don't know why I had to take that attitude with it. Very fine people. But it's if you're fine giving up your freedoms for no reason like that, your privacy for no good reason, then, you deserve to not use Signal. You deserve to have all your stuff read if that's your attitude.
Yeah. Well, again, it's another one of those things that while everybody is at home online, little measure to try to track everybody online and lock that down a little bit more. So just be aware of it. The Earn It bill. Tell your people to reject it.
Sounds good. Reject it.
I think we're running out of time. I think babies are coming out of their holes.
Okay, you search for anything we need to address there. And I just want to let everybody know, thank you so much for tuning in to I don't think it's our first actual live stream, but it's definitely our most successful live stream. Very happy about that. Remember, you're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Head over to any podcast app and search Canary Cry News Talk. Subscribe. There are 170 something episodes for you to listen to. They're usually much shorter. This was a special one because we wanted to just get all the coronavirus stuff out of the way so we didn't have to hit it every single week. So there's a bunch of stuff. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hitting the chats. Thanks for tuning in. Here's the thing. Remember, we've got a Facebook page for Canary Cry Radio. If you have not yet done that, head over, click like on Canary Cry Radio on Facebook. You can also join the Canary Cry community on Facebook if you're more of a Facebook person. We have the Canary Cry community on Facebook. There's a couple thousand people in there just like you, into the same stuff, and it's a great community. We care for each other. Everybody's praying for each other. Everybody's real, very little tension. Sometimes there's a troll or two, but we nip that in the bud. And remember, canarycry.community is a real URL. That leads you to a real website, which is our off Facebook, off the grid community. You got to make your own new account because you can't connect your Facebook account. You'll survive, people. You just need to go do it. And that's a great place to connect to listeners just like you. If you enjoy Canary Cry Radio, Canary Cry News Talk, or Face Like the Sun, or any of the things we do, you got to get to canarycry.community. And some shout outs for some brand new canarycry.community members. DreX0, boom, you're approved. Spartacus 5280, boom, you're approved. Laura Paz, you're approved. Dapits for Pits. You're in. Emilio Saint Navarrete, I think. Emilios. Sorry if I butchered your name, but you're in the club. Welcome to canarycry.community. And here's the other thing, folks. If you like anything that Gons or I do, if you listen to Canary Cry News Talk, Canary Cry Radio, Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, The Joyspiracy Theory, which is another podcast I do, which I recommend everybody go to your podcatcher or the YouTube channel. Search The Joyspiracy. It's like conspiracy, but with joy instead of con. The Joyspiracy Theory. You're going to want to get in on that. Listen to some awesome testimonies of people just like you. We got oh my gosh, I can't get into the full pitch, but I'm telling you, you're going to love it. If you enjoy any of that material, please consider going to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. You know, Gons and I, we do this for free. We put it out there. We've been doing it 8 years. We're going on 9 years. Actually, we just hit an anniversary, I think. Isn't March?
Oh, that's right. March.
We just had an anniversary. We just had a birthday. Find the day.
Have a birthday. Hold on. Let me go look it up real quick.
Okay. We just had a birthday. I think that's 8 or 9 years we've been doing this. And, our listeners have been so generous over the years, and it's only because people find value in what we do, and then they take the time to return that value. You know, in this world where all these digital products are expected to be free, and we do, it is a free podcast. Everything we do is free. And, personally on these shows, we do not believe in selling your attention to corporations for our own personal gain. That just doesn't sit right with us. Now, that's a horrible business decision, as Gons and I have discovered over the years. Respecting your listeners is not a good business decision, but that's why we let everybody know that, hey, if you're getting value out of what we do, if you've listened to one episode, if this is your first episode and you got anything out of it, if you've listened to 10 or all of the episodes, head over to patreon.com/CCNT and sign up. You know, we got different rewards on there. We've got bonus episodes. Whatever this has been worth to you, please head over and consider giving back into the model, because we can only keep going because you guys do that. And also, it just makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It's just nice to know. It's not even about the amount of money at that point. It's just the fact that somebody took the time to go to Patreon and sign up and took the time to put in their debit card and click the button to support us is actually incredibly encouraging. So we encourage you guys to stay in the truth, keep paying attention, don't fall asleep like all those sleepers out there. And along the way, if you find the energy and the gumption, if you've been entertained, educated, or edified by anything Gonz and I do, please go to patreon.com/CCNT and sign up. We got kids to feed, man. Kids and cats. You don't want our kids and cats to go hungry. And on that note, I want to say welcome to Canary Cry .community, Burnex F, and Hyden Realm. Welcome to Canary Cry .community. And again, people, remember to go to patreon.com/CCNT and jump on in.
I like the comment by Dominic in the chat. Truthers are broke. That's an
you know what?
Statement.
Ain't that the truth?
Truthers are broke.
That's just how it is. You can send your gold and your toilet paper to our P.O. box.
I know all the churches made that joke about cash this weekend. I'm sure they used that to try to get some donations. Because cash is the virus on it. So just mail us your cash.
There you go. And we're all going to go to a cashless society anyway. So you're going to get that chip in your hand, and then you can just send all your cash, and that'll be fine. And you'll be rid of coronavirus.
So CCR 001, Introductions, Internet Tracking, and Transhumanism, was published on March 16th, 2012.
Wow. We just had a birthday.
Years. We're 8 years old.
8 years? We're 8 years and 6 days.
2 days.
What'd you say? The 12th? 16th.
No, 16th.
Wow, 2 days. Wow. Congratulations, Gonz. This has been quite a wonderful journey with you here doing this for so long.
Yeah. There have only been a few times where I've felt like I can't take it anymore, Basil. Trying to find the jingle and I couldn't find it in time.
Oh, we're having some shout outs for Age of Deceit. Make sure to go check out Face. Oh, most of these people are on Face Like This on YouTube channel, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, they are.
Also, if you're on YouTube right now, go search Canary Cry Radio. Jump into subscribe to the Canary Cry Radio YouTube page, because we have episodes coming out there as well. Okay, Gonz, you got jingles ready for end of show here?
I do.
Okay, here's the thing, folks. There's 600 of you out there now. I lost about 100 of you pitching for Patreon, but that's just what happens. But hey, now you've had the experience. You've experienced the Canary Cry News Talk bliss. Make sure to subscribe to all the podcasts. And here's the thing. You guys still got friends out there who are getting their news from the mainstream. And what you got to do is you got to grab them by the cage and shake it.
Where are the aliens?
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
I can't deal with it right now, Basil.
That's right, everybody. Go ahead and tell your friends Canary Cry News Talk is the place to be. And we will make sure to put out another episode next week. I think we're going to do some more of this live streaming, whether or not we do it for this show. But keep an eye on all of our platforms, because we're going to be doing it more. Gonz, any last words?
I think that's it. I'm reading through the chat here, and it was really great to see everybody in the chat. It was pretty nice. Every once in a while, you see a comment, and
somebody
triggered.
being mean, getting triggered.
It's okay.
That's okay.
That's all right.
That's the life we live, Gonz. All right,
Stay
everybody.
watchful.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next week. But until then, think outside the cage.